Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So a few days ago, I came across this article in the Washington Post. It's titled, "I Can't Breathe. Asheville Police Video Shows White Officer Beating, Choking, Black Jaywalking Suspect." So here you have a situation where a young man is coming from work. He's walking and these police harass him, and then it escalates into a point where this brother is brutalized by these police. So I'm going to read some excerpts from this article, and then I'm going to provide my commentary. It says Johnnie Rush was trying to get home from his long shift at Cracker Barrel. Then he got stopped for jaywalking. An encounter with the police department in Asheville, North Carolina, that ultimately left Rush with a bloodied face after the officer punched him multiple times, used a stun gun on him, and put him in a chokehold on the ground. And this article talks about how the police in the city released 9 videos from this interaction showing this brother screaming, "Help." He's like saying help multiple times. And then he's saying that he can't breathe. And it reminds us all of the situation involving Eric Garner. You know, the brother in New York that was choked to death by New York police officers. So, it's a very disturbing video. I'm not going to play the video here. I'll just include a link in the description box so that you all can watch the video for yourself. I don't want to deal with copyright issues, so that's the only reason why I'm not playing it right now. So this article goes on to say that the officer who repeatedly struck Rush in the head, Christopher Hickman, resigned in January just before he was going to be terminated for violating the use of force policy. He was charged in March with felony assault by strangulation and misdemeanor assault, inflicting serious injury and communicating threats during this incident, which took place August 2017. Now, his lawyer says that he's going to go to trial and the jury will acquit him. And frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I mean, we've seen all kinds of proof of police brutality, you know, video evidence of police brutality. And unfortunately, many times these police walk away and they get away with brutalizing and killing black people. So I would not be surprised. I hope that that does not happen here, obviously, because you have to see this video. You have to see it. You know, this simple incident where this guy is accused of jaywalking, which is a very minor offense. You know, this brother's not posing any kind of threat to these police. You know, with all this stuff going on in the world, they're going to stop and harass this brother for jaywalking. I mean, do these police have anything better to do? And that's something that the brother says. He's like, why are you stopping me? I mean, why are you harassing me? You got all this other stuff going on that you all could be taking care of instead of harassing somebody that's coming home from work, that's just trying to get home. And, you know, the fact that this brother is just trying to get home, it reminds me again of Trayvon Martin, of how he was just trying to get home, minding his own business. Here you had his brother just minding his own business, going home. Jaywalking is such a minor thing in the big scheme of things. It is ridiculous that it would escalate to this point. And it goes on to say this article says, what happened in these recordings is unacceptable and does not meet the standards of the Asheville Police Department, the values of the city of Asheville, or the expectations of Asheville residents, city officials said in a written statement posted with the videos. And it talks about how this officer violated the Asheville Police Department's vision that all people be treated with dignity and respect. Because you have to see this video. I'm going to go to the section where they talk about exactly what happens. So you had this police officer say, Rush, I just told you, you've committed 4 crimes in a row. Just because you don't agree it's a crime doesn't mean it's not a crime. So this brother was walking home, and these police just kept following him. And, you know, they say that he jaywalked like 4 times or whatever, and that's a crime, you know, and for that, they want to stop this brother and harass this brother. And ultimately, they end up throwing him down and doing all this other stuff to him. And I'm going to go into it. So, You know, so the cop, they have a conversation. He's like, you know, basically saying, well, what did I mean, what's the big deal? Why are you stopping me and this and that? And then, you know, the officer is saying, well, you can be arrested or you can get a ticket. And then the officer says, just write him a ticket. He wants to act like a punk. So already this officer is being offensive, you know, calling him a punk. Just because he's come home from you know, he's going home from a hard day at work, just trying to get home, mind his own business. And these pigs are harassing his brother, following his brother, looking for a reason to stop this brother. So he's like, he's frustrated. Obviously, you'll be frustrated in such a situation. So this officer calls him a punk. And then at some point, you know, he starts to run away. And the police catch up with him. And this is what the officer says, you know, after he catches him. He says, you know what's funny is you're going to get fucked up hardcore. Get on the ground. So that's what he says once he catches up to this brother. The article further says that Hickman presses Rush's head onto the ground as he and the other officer repeatedly instruct him to put his hands behind the back. Rush is screaming. He's squirming and screaming, I can't breathe. I can't breathe, while this officer is holding him down. And then the officer starts to punch him. Hits him 7 to 10 times. He's hitting him in the head 7 to 10 times in this video. All of this over some jaywalking. And this brother is fortunate that he lived through this incident because, as I said before, at some point he couldn't breathe. And he's like, oh my God. He's just shouting. And then this officer reaches for a stun gun and he zaps him. And it says that Rush tried to grab the stun gun from Hickman while it's pointed at him. And it says that Hickman proceeded to hit him in the head with it as if it was a club, about as hard as he could. Then he says this. He said, you know, after the other officers arrived on the scene and after the guy was under arrest, he said, I beat the shit out of his head. I'm not going to lie about that. That's what this officer says. And then, you know, this talks about how this brother was choked from behind, you know, while other officers were grabbing his arms and he's yelling, help, help. And as I listened to him yell, help, I thought about the question, like, who was going to help this brother in this situation? I mean, usually people call on the police to help someone in a situation. Like if someone's robbing them or committing some kind of violence against them, they're usually relying on the police to rescue them. But who can you rely on when the police are the ones that are the criminals? Who's going to stop these police when they do things like that? Unfortunately, usually what happens is somebody is brutalized and then they can go to court and try to bring a civil action or criminal action. And then usually in the criminal action, they don't prevail because the system is designed to protect itself. And the police are a part of that system. So it's like, who can he call upon? And I thought about, like, back in the day, at least you had the Black Panthers. You know, they would actually confront police that brutalized black people. They didn't get on YouTube and talk. They would actually confront those pigs, face to face, gun to gun. But who can we rely on nowadays? We definitely can't rely on a lot of these talkers, these people that talk all this pro-black militant stuff. They're not prepared to do anything to protect the people. They don't have any army or any soldiers or any paramilitary. And even those that do, like the Nation of Islam, I've never seen them intervene on behalf of victims of police brutality. Never, despite all this white man is the devil talk, despite all this justice or else talk, despite all of that, I haven't seen them ever intervene. You know, despite the fact that Farrakhan gave some speech a couple of years ago, like leading up to the Justice or Else March, talking about how we need some soldiers that are willing to put out justice on these police when they do things like that. You haven't seen them do a damn thing about police brutality. Not a damn thing. But yet they don't have any, they have a history of confronting black people, but they don't have a history of dealing with these pigs, these people that they call devils. They have a history of taking out people like Malcolm, a history of dealing with people like Khalid Muhammad, a history of dealing with even people like Clarence 13X, according to some of the allegations. But when do they deal with these pigs in our community? When do they confront these pigs in our community? Where is our army? Where are our soldiers? That's just what I thought about when this brother was yelling help. Because you can't rely on anybody to really save you in that kind of situation, man. And that's a damn shame. But anyway, let's go on into this story. And then this, then while they're walking away, like while the police are escorting this brother to the police car, they're having a conversation. And Rush, acknowledges that he shouldn't have run. But then he said, that didn't give him the right to hit me like that. What would have happened if I would have been killed? Then what? And then, this officer was silent for a moment. Then they just said, you were in the wrong. So you got to check out this video for yourself. It's crazy. And then here there are statements from the local Black Lives Matter group. And, I have a lot of respect for Black Lives Matter. But the thing is, like, these groups, it's like they intervene after the fact. That's the problem. Like, we need to have a more proactive approach to these types of situations. It's like you have these civil rights activists who come out after somebody's been brutalized, after somebody's been killed. What about the work before these things happen? Who's going to intervene to actually stop this stuff from happening when they witness it? We need a new Black Panther Party. And I'm not talking about the group that we see on, this group that was founded in recent years. I'm talking about a group that is prepared to intervene and stop these brutal incidents from occurring in our community. To stop these pigs from brutalizing our people, man. That's what we really need. We need to defend ourselves. We need to defend our communities. We've seen the examples of, those right-wingers in Oregon that stood up to the federal government. We see how they were able to do that, but we understand in this society, we have to deal with the white privilege issue. Like when black people stand up, the reaction is completely different. We saw what they did to MOVE in Philadelphia during the 80s, how they bombed a whole area and killed all those people, and how they dealt with the Panthers. Some Black Panthers are still locked up today for fighting for freedom for our people. So it's not going to be easy to deal with these pigs, man. But I just think that we need to go on a much higher level in terms of our activism, man. It's not enough to rally after somebody's been beaten or after somebody's been killed. That's too late. But anyway, let me try to finish this off. And then one thing that I noticed during this discussion, during the video of this incident, this officer refers to this brother as a tough boy. And we know that the word boy is a racist term. It's a term used to humiliate the black man. Back in the day, a child would refer to a grown-ass black man as a boy. It's like putting the black man on a lower level. It's like saying that this black man is not, in fact, a man. He is a boy. He's somebody that's not worthy of respect in the society. And that's what this officer called him, a tough boy. A tough boy. Just showing his complete disrespect for him. Calling him a punk and all this other stuff. But that's how they see the black man. They see the black man as a boy. Not as a man. And, you know, I was watching a documentary years ago where they were talking about why black men refer to each other as man. Because in this society denied the black man of his manhood. And this is just another example of this, man. Seeing these cops handle this brother kind of reminded me of slave catchers handling a runaway slave, man. So y'all check out this article and you watch the videos that are in the article and tell me what y'all think. So with that, I'm going to say, please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you.